Hey everybody, Livingston here. Today we're jumping into another fun-filled episode of the Twilight Zone. This time it is Season 3, Episode 37, The Changing of the Guard. Came out June 1st, 1962. And I know we are not in order yet again because some reason my computer likes to record things that are out of order. I don't know why it does that. But yeah, we're now watching Episode 37 instead of Episode 34, Young Man's Fancy. And we will get to that probably next week. But, since there's no, legit timeline you need to actually watch these in, I figured, what the hell, let's watch episode 37. It's like Twilight Zone roulette over here. You don't know what episode's coming out each week, so hey, maybe that's a fun little thing I'll do every so often, but these are just happening on accident. Anyways, let's jump into some of your comments for last week's episode, The Dummy, and see what you had to say about it. Fuquar Productions says, it's cute you've never seen these episodes before. Well, I'm glad you think it's cute. Greg number 5 says that on 3 minutes 53 seconds in, your take on Twilight Zone being better as a half-hour episode is spot on. Even Rod didn't like the full hour concept. It was just a money grab by the network trying to generate more and ad revenue. Yeah, I mean, I kind of get the feeling when I was watching The Outer Limits, there was 1 or 2 episodes I really enjoyed, and it's the hour long, as they say, even though it's more like 40 minutes. These are 30-minute, but it's all the commercials that they would show. And I think they got it down to where episodes became like 20 to 21 minutes. These episodes for the Twilight Zone is more like 23, 24 minutes when I'm doing all the editing together. It's just kind of crazy that they are now going to double it. And I think that's why Twilight Zone was so good, is because of it being so short in length, and you go right through the stories, very quick, very easy, keeps your attention for the time you need to keep it, and then boom, you move on. I think with The Outer Limits, I kind of lose interest here and there, so that's why you don't get them as much on this channel as I'd like to have them. But yeah, that's my thought on it. I hear mixed things about the Twilight Zone Season 4 being an hour long per episode, so going to be curious to see what that is going to entail for next season. It's just a few episodes left and we're in Season 4. Kind of crazy. Medium John Silver says there was a small detail that made Cliff Robertson's performance as a ventriloquist not quite convincing. His lips were closed when his dummy talked. Real ventriloquists have their lips slightly apart so they can pronounce pretty much everything except B, P, and M. Robertson's other episode, 100 Yards Over the Rim, is the much better one, although I grant that the dummy's very creepy switcheroo ending has a strong impact. Very true, it does have a strong impact. I didn't see it coming until I was hearing the voice and the dummy was moving instead of the actual dummy voice throughout the entire episode. Yeah, that was very spooky, but I do agree, 100 Yards Over the Rim was a more intriguing episode to me as well. Cliff Robertson's performance, maybe he's just that good at doing ventriloquist that he doesn't have to have his mouth open. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Andy Makes Playlist says, you should watch the much better movie. This episode was stolen from Dead of Night, 1946. I might have to do that. I did read about that in the trivia, which I do at the end of every episode. Kindle Square says, now this is a Twilight Zone episode. I enjoyed it. Has a twisted ending, but it also reminds me of a movie called Magic with Anthony Hopkins. I've never heard of a movie called Magic with Anthony Hopkins. I do like Anthony Hopkins, so I have to look that up at some point. Thanks for letting me know, Kindle. Blue Black Purple says, it was good to see Frank Sutton in this episode. Frank Sutton was the character Frank, Jerry's agent. Frank Sutton is most well known for playing Sergeant Carter on the TV show Gomer Pyle, USMC. Yeah, I used to watch Gomer Pyle here and there when I was a kid. I don't really get around to watching it anymore, so I don't remember a lot of the stuff that happened in those episodes other than a lot of the stuff that Gomer Pyle himself did. Tom G6318 says the nightclub manager was Sergeant Carter from Gomer Pyle. Yep, Blue Black Purple actually just told us that. California Hummus says, I think you could call the doll with glasses a stupid dummy. Probably so. Ben Rosita says, not a bad episode, but the dummy acting was a little wooden. But seriously, I could swear that dummy was in another Twilight Zone episode. Not sure if you've seen that one yet, so I won't spoil anything by saying more. Yeah, I actually know that he's going to be in another episode further on down the line. I actually read it in the trivia. Doesn't really spoil it other than the fact that we are going to get another episode based on ventriloquism, so that's cool. Jonathan Stein says, fun fact, not only is the dummy from this episode later reused in Season 5 episode Caesar and Me, see, told ya, future episode, but these days it's an exhibit in David Copperfield's International Museum and Library of the Conjuring Arts in Las Vegas. And yep, that's something that was in the trivia as well after I watched the episode. So pretty cool to see that the dummy is still around and able to be seen. Anyways, with all that being said, let's jump into the episode and see what we're getting into.
The Twilight Zone.
Rock Spring School for Boys, founded in 1824, Rock Spring, Vermont. Never been to Vermont. I need to go check it out sometime.
What year, sir?
Precisely the question.
Sometime this century, I think.
Was born in 1859. His death occurred what year, Mr. Butler?
Around 1900, sir.
You and Mr. Graham are kindred spirits. You are masters of inexactness. Alfred Edward Houseman died in 1936.
Dates. There was no sense in ever remembering exactly what happened when it came to the date of it, even though it's cool to know.
When I was 21, I heard a wise man say, and pounds and guineas, but not your heart away. But I was 21, no use to talk to me. 'Tis paid with sighs aplenty, and sold for endless rue. And oh, 'tis true, 'tis true.
No pleasance. Monologuing like a pro.
This being, and 3 days before the Christmas holidays, I think it behooves me to show at least let you out early. I might add, you have all, amazingly enough, passed. My delight is only exceeded by my sense of shock. 51 years of teaching, I have ever encountered such a class of dunderheads.
Say what?
And potentially fine young men who will make their marks and leave their marks. Merry Christmas.
Professor Alice Fowler, who is about to discover that life still has certain surprises.
Whoop.
And the path to another institution, commonly referred to as the Twilight Zone.
It just takes me out of it sometimes when they do that swish over to Rod. It's like swit, and then they cut right in the middle of it. And you can see where they cut. The Changing of the Guard, written by Rod Serling.
Could you step inside a moment, please?
Why, yes, of course.
I've seen that actor before in another episode. It was the episode where he cut his vocal cords so he can win the bet.
Am I keeping you?
Oh, no. Broadcast of Handel's Messiah on the radio at 5 o'clock, and I'd very much like to hear it.
Well, this won't take long.
I haven't opened my mail for the last few weeks. Final examinations and that sort of thing.
Your reaction?
Oh, well, naturally, I'll go along.
I shall tell the trustees that you've read their communication and that you agree with it.
Likely go on teaching in this place until I'm 100 years old. Why, 2 years ago, I actually taught the grandson of one of my former pupils. On my word, I think it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that I shall live to teach a great-grandson one of these days. Damon Reynolds and his grandfather would persist in calling me Weird Beard.
Professor Fowler, I think...
So he remembers his students. That's good. It takes the time.
Yes, though it's an odd formality, isn't it? This contract signing year after year. He'll stay at the wheel through fair weather and foul.
Professor Fowler, please hear me out. The communication from the trustees was not a contract.
What was it?
It was a notice of termination.
Oh, no.
You reached the normal retirement age several years ago. We decided at our winter meeting that perhaps a younger man, if you could have been at that meeting, sir, you would have been very proud of the things said about you and your work. Youth must be served, changing of the guard, that sort of thing.
Mr. Headmaster, that my contract is not to be renewed. Discharged.
Oh, no, Professor. Please don't call it that. It's retirement.
I have no purpose now.
Rest of my...
That's what I don't understand about this. We need somebody younger to teach the young kids. What? No. If you get somebody who still wants to be in there, no matter what the age is, and he still has his faculties about him, then they should go on teaching, because they would be the most logical person to have the knowledge or the will and the talent to actually be in front of everybody and teach them what they need to know about the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
Read his mail.
Have a happy holiday, sir.
Mr. McTavish, have a very Merry Christmas. Don't eat too much. You're fine young men, both of you. Have a Merry Christmas.
He was crying. Did you notice that?
Old people do that. A gun. Wake up.
Would you care for some more tea, sir? Dinner will be ready in a half hour. Why don't you take a little nap?
I haven't much of an appetite.
But, Professor,
Perhaps later.
why don't you take a little nap?
The incorrigible habit of chewing bubble gum and then popping it sounds like a howitzer. William Hood, eh? Little Bill Hood, smallest boy ever to play varsity football here. Artie Beechcroft. Full of heart, that one. How was he the one? I remember now, his father wrote me a letter. He was killed at Iwo Jima. Freckle-faced little fella he had. Never stopped grinning. The minute he walked into the classroom, he just had to smile. They all come and go like ghosts.
It'd definitely be an interesting time to be a teacher, especially through the early 20th century up until the 50s. And World War I, World War II, the Great Depression, probably a lot of students that died in senseless wars. And
Quotations dear to me that were meaningless to them.
we haven't had much of that in the last, I guess, 10, 20 years in comparison to what they went through back then. Because, I mean, they went by the thousands back then.
Unwilling heads, dismal failure. I moved nobody. I motivated nobody. I left no imprint on anybody.
It's not true.
Where do you suppose I ever got the idea that I was accomplishing anything? I think I'll take that nap now. And I apologize for putting off our dinner like this.
Take it, Professor Fowler!
Come back. We ran out to the set. You tell that was like a set background. It's like a matte painting back there.
Well, Mr. Mann, I wonder if you ever had any self-doubts. Die until you have won. I have won no victory. I am ashamed to die.
Don't do it. He's about to.
Class bells? Well, that's odd. Why would they ring now?
What the devil? It's creepy. Especially the music.
Boys, forgive me. What I mean to say, I don't recollect.
Artie Beechcroft, sir. Second form, class of 41.
How's that again? Say you're Artie Beechcroft.
Yeah? What of it?
I'd recognize you anywhere. I'm delighted to see you, Artie. Really am delighted to see you. Forgive me, but what you're doing here, you shouldn't be here. See, you were...
I was killed at Iwo Jima, sir.
Oh,
I wanted to show you this, Professor. It's the Congressional Medal of Honor.
thanks.
It was awarded to me posthumously.
Very prideful thing, and I am indeed proud of you. Fine young man. Don't understand.
I'm Bartlett, third form, class of 28.
Oh, who's that?
I was conducting research on X-ray treatment for cancer.
Oh,
I was exposed to radioactivity and I contracted leukemia.
that's not good.
Do remember now, Bartlett. That was an incredibly brave thing you did, Bartlett.
Something you told me. Quote, a poet named Walter. I would be true, for there are those who trust me. I would be pure, for there are those who care. I would be strong, for there is much to suffer. And I would be brave, for there is much to dare. That was something that you left me.
Very decent of you.
That's why I brought this medal to show you, Professor Fowler, because it's partly yours. You taught me what it meant.
Sir?
Wise. Dickie Wise.
Haven't you?
You were the first one.
The first one to die, Professor.
Hooray.
It was at Pearl Harbor on the Arizona. I was an ensign.
December 7th, 1941.
You were at my elbow that day, Professor. You may not have known it, but you were there. A poem by John Donne. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. And therefore never send to know for whom the bell toll. It tolls for thee.
That it done.
Thompson, sir. Second form, class of 39. I died on New Guinea, but you taught me about patriotism. Class of 1917. I died of wounds at Chateau Terry. You taught me about courage.
Hudson, sir, second form. You taught me about loyalty. Whiting, sir, fourth form. Class of 51. You taught me about ethic and honesty.
Oh, he seems a little creepy.
We have to go back now, Professor, but we wanted to let you know that we were grateful. Each of us has in turn carried with him something that you gave him. We wanted to thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. See, you made a difference. Now you don't have to kill yourself. Mission accomplished. It's like Scrooge, kind of. You know, the way they spirits show him the way, even though he was basically doing good, and they stopped him from doing a horrible thing, I guess. I have meaning in my life now. Hooray!
Yes, Headmaster, he's home.
And he's singing.
Yes, he's just fine. Thank you.
Well, it's even taking place on Christmas.
A Merry Christmas, Professor. A Merry Christmas to you.
God bless you all and a Merry Christmas.
Oh, open up, throw him a shilling or two, and go tell him to get the biggest bird.
I really think I will retire. I do believe I may have left my mark. Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity. Very full life, a very rich life. Particular changing of the guard. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Professor Ellis Fowler, who discovered rather belatedly something of his own value. A very small scholastic lesson from the campus of the Twilight Zone.
Like those episodes, it has a bit of a lesson learned. Well, that's episode 37, The Changing of the Guard. Really enjoyed that episode. I thought Donald Pleasance did a great job with the old age makeup and everything, but his acting, of course, was always superb in everything he does. Really enjoyed seeing him because he was in the Outer Limits episode, one of the earlier episodes of the Outer Limits. The moral of the story is that there was meaning in his life, and he just had to stop and look back and realize that there was a lot that he did to change the course of a lot of people's lives, and gave the people the courage and the patriotism and, the knowledge they needed in order to get through certain events in their lives. And evidently he made a massive impact, and he just needed to be shown the way. Very much like a Scrooge type story, other than the fact that this guy was a decent human being that just needed to be stopped from doing a horrible thing like committing suicide. So good thing that he ended up making it through and seeing that, hey, retirement is just a way for you to reflect back on the things that you have accomplished in your life. And hopefully you've accomplished enough to where you can fill up a whole room of people of all the lives that you have changed in the course of your own life. So, hey, hopefully I have a room full of people at the end, like my funeral, I guess. But hopefully it's a big crowd. We'll see what happens. I mean, I won't be there. Hopefully in spirit. But anyways, let me know, comment below what you thought of this episode. It actually reminded me of some teachers that I had when I was going to high school and some middle school. I don't really remember a lot of my teachers throughout the middle school and high school years, but I think I still remember my teachers from 1st and 5th grade. Like, 1st grade was Mrs. Satius, and then I had Miss Cottier, and then I had Miss Hambright, Miss Schmidt, and Miss Overcash. After that, it's like sporadic. I had a few teachers I think I enjoyed in middle school. One was Miss Miss Carter, and she always says she was 120 years old. I think she's probably not with us anymore. She seemed like an old lady back then, but I had a guy that I really enjoyed being my teacher in English class in the 12th grade. His name was Mr. Tutt. Lived on a sailboat with his wife. Kind of reminded me of like a laid-back Dr. Phil, because he would read us Shakespeare, and really enjoyed the way he would talk about it, because he would break it down for us like a Dr. Phil, where he would go, so, Romeo, oh, art now there, Romeo, and then he'll go out and go, now what that means is, and break it down to you in like layman's terms. So yeah, definitely enjoyed being in that guy's class. But yeah, some reason it just reminded me about some of the teachers that I had when I was growing up in the 1 through 12. But do you remember all your teachers? I'd like to know your thoughts. Anyways, let's jump into some trivia and see what it took to get this episode off the ground. The final Twilight Zone episode where the ending shot rose upward, seeing the setting's higher point replaced by a starlit sky. The man, quote, Fowler reads, "Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity," is the motto for Rod Serling's college, of which Mann was the first president. After writing the script for The Changing of the Guard, Serling accepted a teaching post at Amish College. Study Dickie Wise quotes John Donne for, "No man is an island. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sin to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee." Student Bartlett quotes Harold Arnold Walter from "I would be true. I would be true, for there are those who trust me. I would be pure, for those are those who care. I would be strong, for there is much to suffer. I would be brave, for there is much to dare." Although Donald Pleasance, who plays Professor Ellis Fowler, played a teacher with 51 years experience, he was only 42 years old when this episode was filmed. Ensign Dickie Weiss was killed saving the lives of 12 men who were trapped in the boiler room of the USS Arizona during the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. In Time Element 1958, the unofficial pilot for The Twilight Zone, which was also written by Rod Serling, Ensign Januski was killed on the USS Arizona during the attack. The medal that Artie Beechcroft was awarded was the Medal of Honor because of the extraordinary battlefield heroics involved in being recommended for the award. It is often incorrectly called the Congressional Medal of Honor because Congress approves it. Although set at Christmas, the show was aired in June, almost Christmas in July. The basic plot of the episode bears a striking resemblance to James Hilton's classic novel Goodbye, Mr. Chip. The second of two episodes with a character named Beechcroft. The first was The Mind and the Matter, 1961, episode 27 in season 2. Well, let me know what you thought of this episode. I'd like to know your thoughts, and until next time, see you later.